lockdown, I'm sure there's quite a few more than there would have been otherwise. It's
That's right.
how has that been for everyone, for all your staff? Like it's been quite a challenge for us. I mean, it's kind of day to day. You'll find some people in different stages of the lockdown coping better than others. I myself was pretty much fine until probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago, and it was actually just after we did a men's mental health seminar online, which was really it went for 2 hours, and pretty much everybody stayed on for the whole event, and it was phenomenal to see how specifically around men's mental health, how willing men are these days to talk about those things. How's it all played out for yourself personally, and for your team?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a really difficult period. I mean, particularly for those of us in Melbourne. We sort of had the first wave of lockdown, which whatever that went for a month or two, and then sort of got let out a bit. And I think that made it all the harder when we then got shut down again, and shut down hard for whatever it was, 2 to 3 months. So it's been a shit period. It's been a really hard winter and a really tough year. For me personally, I mean, as I mentioned, I mean, I spent a lot of time caring for myself and managing my own mental health, and I've had to be pretty disciplined in doing that over the last 6 months. Exercising, just having some downtime, reflection. All of those things have been really, really important to try and keep me sort of stable and upright. And as you made reference to, I have my moments, my ups and downs. You have good weeks and tough weeks. You have good days and tough days. So it has been tough. I mean, having said that, there's been some positives. I normally travel a fair bit for work around the country. I haven't been to an airport in about 8 months, and that's pretty good, to be honest. It's meant that I've got to spend more time at home with family. I cook more than I ever have. I hang out with my daughters more than I would have. I get to read books and do yoga and things that bring a lot of calm and peace and happiness to my life. So there's been some real upsides, but it has been tough, and it's been tough leading an organisation and keeping the team, helping the team manage through this period. It's taken all sorts of twists and turns, and 65 people, everyone experiences that differently. And whether you're trying to work from home with kids who are also trying to study from home, or whether you're a single person that's really feeling the isolation, it's been a really tough period for everyone. And I think watching people kind of go through that experience, and the pain that people have experienced. We all know people who have lost jobs, or or have really, really struggled, and so it's been really, really difficult. And I guess for me, I sort of got a strong belief that you've got to be able to look after yourself to be able to care for others. And I guess I've made sure I've worked hard to look after myself so I can do what I can to support other people around me. I've got to say, I mean, congratulations on the mental health initiative. I mean, I think
thanks.
I think particularly for men in this, our industry is dominated by men. I think talking about mental health is not something that comes naturally. I think all the more I grew up in regional Victoria, and all the more, men in country Australia, just even acknowledging that you've got, there's an emotional, mental side to you, let alone accepting when you're really struggling. It's not something that comes naturally. And I think initiatives like yours, I was also involved in a great initiative by Russell French, trying to sort of profile and bring to life the sort of challenges that men and people face in managing their mental health. And there's a lot of pretty basic, simple things that people can do to try and manage themselves through what has been a really tough period.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that seemed like the main thing that came out of that seminar was it kind of came back to the basics: get enough sleep, get some exercise, That was something I did learn through this lockdown. Was, you know, at the times, I guess the isolation was kind of getting to me over the last few weeks, and at one point I just felt like, oh, I'm going to have a mental breakdown unless I do something. And so I chucked on the running shoes and I just went out and I just powered down the pavement and I just smashed it until I was so exhausted that I couldn't even think anymore. And then the endorphins started rushing in. And for the rest of the day, I felt great compared to how I was that morning. And it was really, it took this experience for me to learn that from the exercise perspective. Earlier on, I was, you know, I thought that, you know, not like yourself, I travel a lot in my role, and I thought that, you know, not having to travel would mean a lot more time for myself. But I think I found myself actually working more hours, and, you know, sometimes up till 2-3 in the morning to get things done. And then at a certain point, I realized I'm only getting 3 or 4 hours sleep a night. I feel horrible. So I thought I'm just gonna put myself to bed at midnight every night, no matter what. Right. And trim the fat a little bit, which is, you know, every 12 months or so, I'll look at all the things I'm working on and try and cut out 20% or 30% of them, and just focus on the really valuable stuff. But yeah, getting sleep for me was, and sleep and exercise, and also just drinking more water. It seems so basic, but these are the things that really played the biggest role in helping me out, you know? So yeah,
I think, I mean, that's one of the challenges in periods like this, and I think managing your mental health, that sometimes things can kind of spiral a little bit, and, you know, whatever the drivers or the factors are, that, you know, sometimes you can just get into some patterns and habits of just forgetting the kind of the simple basic stuff. And I think the other thing that, you know, I'm constantly reminded of is, you know, that there's so many kind of support services and help out there for people. At the CC, we have an assistance program which provides free counselling to anyone, in fact, and their families, really, for anything, whether it's work related or more likely personally, you know, driven. But it's sort of interesting, you know. I think particularly for men, if you had a sore knee or if you had a toothache, you just go straight and see the doctor or see the dentist. But when it comes to mental health, I think there is still a lot of stigma, and so people don't take and accept and put their hand up for help with mental health, I think, unfortunately, to the same degree as they do for their physical health. And I think even just talking about it, and the forum that you ran, I think are really important steps to just start to normalize mental health. That, you know, sometimes when I get out on the bike, my back aches or my legs feel heavy, or, you know, or I've got an injury or something or other, and that's perfectly normal. Just like some days or some weeks, my mental health is really good, and some weeks it's not. And you know, again, like your physical health, you need to do work on it. You need to care for it. You need to, you know, you need to pay attention to it. And you need to seek external help where it's necessary.
It's such a good analogy, actually. Just, I mean, you think about it. If you injured your leg, would you walk around and hide it from people and just pretend everything's okay and keep walking on it and damage it more? Or, you know, would you go and just get it fixed? Like,
yeah, in fact, go further than that. I mean, growing up in country Victoria, if I pulled a hammy out on the footy field, I'd be a hero. You know, you'd wander around and you'd show everyone, and oh yeah, you know, my hammy, it's, you know, I'd kick 3 goals or whatever. I was running off the wing. You know, it's sort of it's almost held up as a, you know, yeah, you're a tough person and you're a hero. But when it comes to mental health, if you know, the stigma is such that people don't, I guess they're not prepared to generally kind of even recognise that they might be struggling and call out for help, which I think makes managing mental health all the tougher.
Well, I think, you know, the more we talk about it, the better it's going to get, and the easier it'll get for men to feel that it's a safe thing to do. You know, it's, I mean, if anything, it's actually more courageous to talk about it if there's a stigma around it. And you know, I see a lot of really courageous men, you know, since that event, and also since especially lockdown in Victoria. The conversation around this is it's blown up. It's you know, there's been plenty of threads on the social media channels, and a lot of people, including myself, feeling comfortable in those spaces to open up, and the support that just the other day I was just talking about it on one of those those forums and the support I got back. You know, I had people ringing me that I haven't spoken to in a long time just to make sure I was okay, and it all helps. You know, it's fantastic.